I'm Jeff Philbin, and this is Dinner DeeAs, dishing out new twists on what to make for dinner. And today, join us for a culinary journey out east for a perfect pad thai, how to make it all from scratch and fast. Joining us today on Dinner DeeAs is Billy Deck, and this is someone who knows Asian food. He is the owner of Sunday New Asian with restaurants in Chicago, Nashville, and now Tampa. My friend, welcome to the Dinner DeeAs Kitchen.
Thank you so much. It's amazing to be here.
We're gonna have a lot of fun today because you're also, and hold up, like deep breath everybody, an actor, a TV personality, an entrepreneur, attorney, presidential advisor, and also a filmmaker who features in a new documentary called Food Roots, which follows his adventures through his mother's native 7,641 islands of the Philippines. Bet you didn't know that many islands are on the Philippines, but they are, and is screening this on May 19th at the Tampa Theater as part of Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month.
Such an honor. It's the mayor of Tampa actually hosting this event, and they asked at Sunda if we would come out and host by screening a very special show for everyone at your Tampa Theater, which has 1,200 seats. That's a humongous.
Out of this world, fantastic. It's one of the most beautiful joys and gems, and to be able to share that. What does it mean? Because this is your family story. Walk me through that.
Well, growing up Asian American in Chicago is much different back then than it is now. You know, now there's so much sharing and, you know, on Instagram and with TV shows like this, where everyone's so excited to explore new and different, to go to the 7,641 islands through documentaries. When I grew up as a kid, it was like, wait, what is that? What's happening? And we'd come home and we'd be like, we just want Pop-Tarts and pizza bagels like everyone else is eating.
Sure.
And now it's sort of like turned. Those kids are now adults and they want to experiment and try things like Filipino food, Thai food, Vietnamese food, and other things that I grew up exploring when I was a kid. We'd go to the Philippines every other year, and when you go, you stop in Thailand, you stop in Vietnam and China, and that was sort of our upbringing. So I'm really excited to share some of that today.
I can't wait, because today you're not making a dish from the Philippines, but one from the many other countries that are showcased on the menu at Sunda Asian, which is pad thai.
It's like when you're in the restaurant business, you always want to actually make and eat the other stuff.
Totally.
Like in our house, we always made Filipino food, so guests can do it. You can have it at Sunda. But today, you know, I like to get my hands on different flavors and other things from different countries. And Thailand is actually a place that I've had a lot of experience with. I lived there for about 6 months out of college. I was training in Muay Thai and kickboxing, and then went to law school from there. But that was my 6 months of freedom.
Okay.
And I just ate my heart out, and I would eat pad thai every day.
This was literally eating the heart out, and now it's for everyone else to eat the heart out of this beautiful dish. So how do we get it started then?
Well, first of all, we're just going to, you know, start with some onions that we're going to sweat out. Couple minutes. And then we're just going to add a bunch of really great ingredients that back in the day were hard to find. You know, when we were growing up. Yeah. But nowadays, you find them at all sorts of specialty stores. It's available on the internet, or you get anything anywhere. And actually,
Isn't that kind of cool to think that like we have the world at our fingertips now, to have the opportunities to be exposed to cultures and cuisines that before were so foreign in thought, but now can be literally Amazon 2-day delivery. Got it. You know, let's go. I'm making that.
I know. Even in Chicago, growing up in a Filipino family, we had to take 2 buses just to get to this little strip, either in Chinatown or this little Vietnamese area, just to get fish sauce and tamari and some of the other things that we're using today. But now you can get them, you know, at like your grocery store.
They have it right there at Publix, and it's ready to go for you.
It'll come to your home. So we sweat this out for a couple of minutes. We're good there. We're going to start adding some of these really interesting ingredients. So first off, we have tamari. More and more people are starting to hear about tamari.
Yeah, so like for those that do not know what tamari is, what is it?
You know, the easiest way to explain it is sort of like a soy sauce. But some people are going to hear about it, especially gluten-free folks, because it's a gluten-free version of soy. It has a much more deeper umami, savory feel, but not as salty.
Not as salty for it there.
And so It is a wonderful addition, especially because we're about to play with some sours and some sweets. And that's what's cool about pad thai. It has like this mix of all of these different sort of flavors. The next is tamarind. Not a lot of people are cooking with tamarind.
Yeah, so what is that now? What is tamarind?
So tamarind, someone explained the other day, I heard someone say that tamarind is sort of if like lemon, lime, and then apricot and dates sort of like came together and had a mixed family.
The hybrid of everything right there coming together.
Yeah, which is really great because then you have like a tangy vibe going on, right? So now we've already, we've introduced savory and tang into one. We talked about fish sauce. Fish sauce is the ultimate flavor bomb, savory.
Now you say the flavor
umami.
bomb, but like, is there a concern with the smell of having fish sauce in the house? And what can we do to kind of like, work around that?
Yeah, like back in the day, my Lola, my grandma, didn't even use the vent. It was like just constantly cooking, and I can see where that comes from. But now you have top chefs around the world and reporters and food hosts really playing with their fish sauce because it really amps up all the flavors of everything that goes into dishes, proteins, vegetables, and other sorts of things that we're going to mix in.
And that helps with the idea of umami. You said flavor bomb before, the umami. So what are you trying to create within that?
Well, it just goes and gives really deep layers of savory warmth. It's like that warm hug that you get, from, it's like a grandma, it's like that missing ingredient that like your really authentic grandparents, in my opinion, when they have that perfect dish, and you're like, I tried to do that, but I'm missing something.
And there's always that missing ingredient.
I'm telling you, people are afraid of the fish sauce, but it's in the fish sauce. I just want to let everyone know. We're also using a little vinegar and then some fresh squeezed lime juice.
Okay.
This is, with a noodle dish, that's a lot of tang going on, but the tang is then sort of balanced out with a little sweet and the brown sugar.
Okay.
And then we're using a little bit of a sweet chili sauce.
Nice.
So you've got some sweets in there, you've got a little bit of heat. And heat is always an interesting debate.
Because it's subjective of because you can order it sometimes at a restaurant and be like, do you want it light? Do you want it medium?
Right.
Well, what is light and medium to you? And what is like really, really fire engine hot?
And even if you have fire engine hot, you have people that say it's not hot enough.
Yeah,
and then you have people that want to sue you. It's like, what are you doing?
So this is something that you could customize to what your liking would be of the amount of spice and heat that you want.
For sure. And this is like the safety version, but anyone who loves spice has in their cupboards, they have, the chili flakes, they have the sambal, the Indonesian sort of a hot sauce. They have their own versions of what they like, and you can actually mix and match and play around here.
I love it because if you want to make Billy Deck's idea for dinner, grab the recipe at our website, dinnerdeas.com. We have everything you need, all the amounts and ingredients, and also the directions. Of course, for the full Dinner Deas experience, grab your phone, point your camera at the QR code on your screen, and this is your express pass to our website, giving it a scan to join us online. Since our sauce is simmering here, we're gonna take a break, and when we come back, how that turns into pad thai with some noodles, shrimps, and expert advice from our guest, Billy Deck, ahead on Dinner Deas. Welcome back to Dinner Deas. We're joined today by Billy Deck. He's the owner of Sunda New Asian, which started in Chicago, but is now also bringing elevated Asian cuisine to Nashville and Tampa. He's also the subject of a new documentary tracing his food roots. That's also the title. And it follows Billy as he sets off on a journey to his mother's native 7,641 islands of the Philippines to find his last living elders. That is dope, my friend. That is really cool. Today, we're making a dish direct from the menu at Sunda, pad thai. And if you've never tried it, here's your chance to have some fun with us. So before the break, we made our sauce from scratch, sweating down some onions, then adding tamari, tamarind concentrate, fish sauce, white vinegar, lime juice, brown sugar, and chili sauce. We brought it all together, we let it simmer, and now we're ready to start with the noodles.
We are. Here we go.
All right.
It's the fun part.
Now, what are we working with first off?
This is your traditional wok. Now, back in the day, they weren't so popular, but now I'm starting to see these in people's homes.
Yeah.
They're ordering them. They're not that expensive. They're getting them online, and they're having fun with them. They look amazing. So they warm really fast. That's part of the whole magic of a wok. It's very hot. So first off, we'll put a little oil in there, and we're gonna put our onions in.
Okay.
Okay. We're actually going to start combining all things, especially with that sauce that you had mentioned, which is perfectly ready to go to give it that complex, but I think familiar flavor. We also have some shrimp here that we're going to use. Now, if you're a vegetarian, you can just go vegetables, obviously.
Okay.
Some people like chicken, some people like steak.
Totally.
Some people like pork.
I like all of the above on it, and that's literally how I order it and how I make it is literally bring it all to me. So what's the trick with having a wok, though?
Well, it's a super hot situation, so I think the trick is to have everything ready and prepared and have all of the actual amounts that you need ready to throw in. By the way, I'm gonna have you pop an egg in there.
Okay.
Some people don't like the eggs.
Okay.
You can just
Just
crack
one egg?
Yeah, just crack one. You can just throw it in. Just move some of this stuff to the side. Let that cook. Some people like 2 eggs. It depends. And you really can just kind of chop it up. You know, everyone's so careful with their eggs. You finally get to not be so careful.
This is that time where it's just like, you bring it all
you
in.
get to totally play with it. As you can see, it cooks in a matter of seconds, as you saw. And here we are. We're just on our way to cooking some of the things that take a little bit longer. Now we have a really great rice noodle that we use.
Okay.
And it's pre-cooked. The reason we cook that off first is, remember, we're in wok time now. We're in fast-moving, hot, working with some hot temperatures.
And these noodles are easy to find and easy to be able to get to a desired, consistency that you need it to be for this?
These days, it's like literally made simple. And super available. So many people are like experimenting with different noodles now. We also have carrots that we're gonna throw in.
Okay.
And then the final main event, the MVP, I think, of the dish is the sauce that we so carefully created together a little bit earlier, which is ready to go. I'm just cooking down the carrots just a little bit.
Okay.
And getting a really, I think, important sear going on the noodles, on the rice noodles.
Okay.
Because the wok is so hot.
Perfect. And the sauce is going to go in now?
It's just going to go right in.
And how much is going in there?
Well, it depends on how much you're making. Right now, I'm using an amount that just perfectly covers it and leaves a little bit of a pool under there. Mostly because it's going to render down.
Totally. And it's going to lift the eggs. So if anyone's afraid of it, oh no, I just kind of have eggs sticking.
Did you see how that happened?
This is going to lift it from the bottom, and it's going to bring everything together.
Yes.
It all comes together. Liquid is your friend.
And if you look, I mean, a lot of these items are super simple. And, it's rare that you get a dish with all the different senses being hit. The flavor, the smells, the visual, appeal, the umami, the sweet.
Yeah, that smells. I'm going right in. I feel like I want to dive in, and you do too, because to grab the recipe to make Billy Deck's pad thai for yourself, head to our website, dinnerdeas.com. Do it. Do it right now. You're going to love it. The quickest way to find us so you can read along at home while we cook is to use your phone to scan the QR code that we have in the corner of the screen. And just like that.
And then just going to have you help me garnish it right there. You see some chives you can sprinkle on. Some cilantro. You can have some fun with the bean sprouts, which are nice, light and crispy. And depending on taste, here the bean sprouts are like a favorite.
Oh yeah. You like peanuts too?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
I need that crunch. I need that.
It's that salty crunch, right?
It's that salty crunch. It's just that little bit.
Yeah.
All right.
And then a little lime wedge on the side. People can amp it up if they like. But remember, we use the tamarind, we use some lime sauce. So it actually has those properties, those
already has
flavors.
that acidity behind it. Well, our pad thai has been prepped and plated. And when we come back, Billy and I will be putting our pad thai to the taste test ahead on Dinner Deas. Back to Dinner Deas. Today, we're joined by Billy Deck. He's an entrepreneur, filmmaker, and restaurateur, the founder and CEO of Sunda New Asian. You can find them in Midtown Tampa, plus Nashville and Chicago, where they serve elevated Asian cuisine from countries including Japan, the Philippines, Indonesia, China, and Thailand, which is where Billy's idea for dinner today comes from. And the clue's in the name, pad thai. And we have made this all from scratch in way less than half an hour. Before the break, we cooked onions and shrimp in a hot wok, making room for some eggs, then adding the noodles, plus carrots and the sauce we made earlier, garnishing with cilantro and bean sprouts for some crunch, peanuts and lime. My friend, like, this is one of my favorite dishes. You ready to dig right in?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, we just threw it all together. It's actually pad thai means kind of like a Thai stir fry. And that's kind of what we did. We just sort of threw it all together and stirred and fried it up. See, the savory, but you got tang.
That sauce has so much flavor going on to it there. Because it's rolling around, and you've got a little bit of that warmth, then you're getting a little bit of the hit of like the acid that's coming in from it all.
And then the shrimp hits the extra hot wok, gets a sear on it, and then the fish sauce pulls the flavors out, amps them up, sticks them back in. It is a crazy mix. The chili sauce is really interesting, very subtle.
I love it.
Kind of hits you back here.
And it's all purposeful. You know, you have the freshness that comes through too with the cilantro, which is always a nice hit to it behind it, because it just kind of brightens up the dish in such a way that just kind of says, okay, I want more. I want to keep going back for more.
Yeah.
I love this. This is absolutely fantastic.
And you can also navigate your bites, you know, like you can say, hey, I just want a light, crispy bean sprout situation. Then you want to go deep back into the, you know, maybe even like scoop up some extra sauce. But if you notice, the sauce got basically, you know, absorbed into the...
And the noodles absorb everything.
Yeah.
So you always have that flavor punch. So I got to imagine that you've, like, how long have you been having pad thai for?
Well, my whole life, because it's a really easy dish. Also from when you're kids, you know, when you're traveling throughout Southeast Asia. And even here, it's one of the most popular dishes on our menu at Sunda, because, you know, 1 out of 4 folks may not want something from the sushi bar. They may not want something, you know, that's a particular protein. They may want to go vegetarian. They may want to go gluten-free, you know, and pad thai can do that for you. And again, out of college, I lived there and I didn't have any money, and I can get this for something really accessible, and it would fill me up and just be super unlike anything I had in America.
I love it because, like, it's affordable. And once you have the ingredients, it's really simple to really kind of put it all together. As long as you lay everything out and you have everything meased out, ready to go portion, what you were saying, when you're applying everything, once you get that heat going, you got to work quick.
Yeah, I always tell people they don't want to do all that organizational work in advance because of something that they're thinking in their head, but they have to throw that in the pot eventually. So you're going to do the exact same work, just do it in advance so it's all sort of like pre-measured out and it goes in.
It's ready. It's part of the process. It's part of the process, because if you make this for your dinner, we want to know. We are nosy like that. Take a photo and share it with us at facebook.com/dinnerdeas. That's what our friend Susan did. She was inspired to make the grouper recipe shared by Captain Dylan Hubbard. She said, my husband and I loved Dylan Hubbard's recipe. I added our homegrown baked and breaded eggplant, a baked sweet potato, and garlic rainbow carrots. This is the best recipe for those who don't care for fish. Bravo, Captain. And let me tell you, Susan, bravo yourself on that one. The only thing that's missing is my invite. I'll bring dessert. I mean, I eat light. But if you want to take a trip to Asia, though, grab Billy's pad thai recipe with all the directions and the ingredients neatly laid out at dinnerdeas.com, or just use your phone and scan the QR code we have on the screen to get yourself there right now. And when we come back, our dinner ideas are not done just yet. We have one extra helping. Billy shares the deets on a dish inspired by his Filipino heritage ahead on Dinner Dias. Welcome back to Dinner Dias. We've been cooking today with Billy Deck. He's the founder and co-owner of restaurants Sunda New Asian in Chicago, Nashville, and Tampa's Midtown. Earlier, he shared his recipe for a perfect pad thai. But before we're done today, we're going to take a quick dinner detour. We mentioned earlier that you're not only running restaurants, my friend, but you're also the subject of a new documentary called Food Roots. The film follows Billy's adventures through his mother's native 7,641 islands of the Philippines and is screening on May 19th at the Tampa Theater as part of Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. And you also brought some other dishes from the menu at Sunday New Asian, the first of which has a connection to the film.
Yes. This is called lumpia.
Okay.
And it's a Chinese-inspired Filipino egg roll. We would roll them, after school sometimes.
Okay.
And they would be our after-school snack.
Nice.
And in Sunday, we also have these lettuce wraps because some people like to put them in lettuce wraps.
Okay.
And then they would dip them in either the sweet or the sort of garlic vinegar.
Okay.
And then they would, eat them, and they're just these crunchy, just savory, delicious. My Lola, my grandma, used to actually make these for everyone, and everyone loved them. And here at Sunday, we actually have one special ingredient that we put in to kind of modernize it.
Okay.
Our chef put a very crispy, smoky bacon in there that just gives it that extra level of sort of familiarity meets this sort of foreign flavors as well, and it's just really cool.
And what are these other dishes?
Well, it seems very popular at our restaurants for folks to really want to explore the sushi bars, so I brought a couple rolls.
Okay.
This one's a rainbow roll, so you have a mix of everything. And then this one is something we're doing for Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. It's called the Golden Child. I like it because not only does it have an escalar in it, but it has mango. Mango is something we grew up with in the Philippines.
Now, let me ask you this, though, because you're saying it's the gold child.
I think it was because of my business partner, Chef Mike Morales, who geeked out over the movie.
Eddie Murphy all the way on that one. And thanks again to Billy Deck. Grab the recipe for his pad thai at dinnerdeas.com. We also have a link to his restaurant, Sunday New Asian, and to find out more about his equally delicious documentary, Food Roots. I'm Jeff Philbin. Thanks for watching, and see you next time with more Dinner Dias.